it's the right of the person who doesn't want to open up not to
open up. But how do you then come into that place of understanding? Hi guys, welcome back again to Leap of Faith. This is part 2 of the video that I had with Joshua David. If you've not watched it, please go back and watch it. It will bless you, because this one is going to be the more chilled. It won't be as serious as that one. This one will be the very chilled version. And in this video, we're going to be talking about, handling friendships when you travel abroad. I know that many of you are planning to travel abroad. Some of you are already abroad. So we're just going to be touching base on, friendships and managing that. So my first question now would be, did you have any, did you get any serious dents to your friendships when you traveled abroad?
Well, first of all, serious dents, not necessarily, but then there were changes.
Yeah.
I live in Canada now, where I stay in Canada is 6 hours and 5 hours sometimes, difference between Nigeria. So obviously that alone, the difference, time difference, I couldn't talk to at the time when I first traveled, and like I said earlier in the previous video, that what most people envision when they leave Nigeria is not what they meet when they get to a lot of these places, UK, US, Canada, Australia, whatever anybody's going to. What I noticed first is that, first of all, you must take your time to sort of settle in the environment where you are in, and that process of settling itself now becomes the time when friends are trying to reach out to you, you're trying to call friends, you're trying to talk to friends, and again there's also that my guy just moved, my guy just moved. People want to be part of that phase, how is it going there, what's going on, and sometimes depending on how people moved, depending on what they're doing there, they might not have the time to do that, because that time is very pivotal. The first few months of arriving there, trying to settle in, some people don't even have accommodation before they left Nigeria. They're staying with some friends, they're trying to pull resources together to figure out their life. So yes, sometimes those things will definitely affect the friendships, but for me it also did. I also had friends who it felt like we sort of grew apart to an extent, but I tried to explain it. Like I said, we were not leaving Nigeria because it was time to run away or something. There were several plans on ground and things that we're doing here already. So my friends knew this, and so we would always talk, how are you doing, and sometimes so my friends and I have a phrase that would always, and I think this is it, that if you don't talk to me, call me after 10 p.m. Nigerian time. So after 10 p.m. Nigerian time, it would be close to evening there, or evening, so we could have conversations and all of that. So that type of thing, and I think it's a two-way thing. If we're building serious friendships, especially for those of us who are believers, if we're building friendships that are not just important to our financial life or material things or whatever, our career, if we're also building friendships based on our faith and and spiritual devotion and all of that, then those friendships should not also suffer, because if they do, it might affect other important parts of our lives. So it's a two-way thing. And it's important that we see it as that. Not just that you've gone now, you're not talking to me. That's the usual reaction. No, the people there also have things that they're grappling with, and we must understand that they do. It's not the minute that anybody arrives there that their life becomes all the things that they've imagined before they left.
It doesn't become rosy immediately. No. It doesn't. Okay, so that with that being answered, right? I know that. Well, I'm not there, but I know that I can imagine that it would be it's definitely not easy, right, to pack up and leave people that you have known almost all your entire life, right? People who you share the same beliefs with, they like the same things that you do. I'm sure that when you relocated, there were lots and lots of culture shock, right, over there. One thing I know that we hold strong here is community. Like your neighbor's child is also your child. You can treat. So how did you when you got there newly, right, how were you able to adjust to this culture shock?
So first thing we must understand is that what we even call culture shock in itself is a phenomenon that was created because of migration all over the world at different points historically. So that in itself has its historical relevance. The same way white people would have culture shock when they come here. So we must know that it's a different culture, different people, different type of living, different type of upbringing, and all of that. I make a joke with my friends that I don't know my neighbors, not because I don't want to
know them,
but because everybody is in their space. You don't talk to anybody. They come out of the house, and it's just maybe after a while, if you have a baby like I do, I have a toddler who is happy and jovial and all of that, and says hi to people, then people will know you for that, because of that. But apart from that, society itself has certain expectations from you. You living in Nigeria had certain things in your mind, and you have certain expectations of the society. Certain things would align with those expectations, and others might not. It might be a far cry from what you thought before you left here. We must respond to those things, critically, especially in how those issues impact our core beliefs. Again, we're believers, so it's important to know that this culture shock, the differences in life, in society, in culture, right, in the general way of living, would have different levels of impact, on our spiritual life, on our life as believers, and that's really where the crux of all of this is. In terms of food, in terms of communal living and all of that, that's fine. We can always cope with some of those things. I mean, maybe weather also, if people have health challenges and all of that. But most importantly is that what's the impact of all of these things on our spiritual life? So, on that, in that aspect, we must also always, from the beginning, go with a mindset of, just like we talked about devotion in the previous video, that people must have set goals for devotion here before they get there, and begin to attempt to build devotion, because it's a different society. You might work in places where they will fix work on Sunday, right? And the minute you say, you are trying to say you don't want to come because of something, you might be the odd one out, and expect that you might be. So from the beginning, there are certain questions. Taking a job from the beginning, there are certain questions you would have to ask. And those are the things. And sometimes we're not being sincere with ourselves, or we're not being bold enough to say certain things, to ask those questions, because you're just living, you're just settling there, you're looking for a job, and then you eventually find one, and then you're not is it now I'm not going to be asking whether I'm going to come into work on Sunday or something. But we must be bold enough to ask some questions. We must be bold enough to say, Monday to Friday, or what are the expectations for working beyond the regular hours or something. Those things are important. They're important for how we would eventually begin to think of ourselves, how we begin to position ourselves even in that environment. Because sometimes the minute you start and you get into particular things, or get into particular sectors, and you're working in particular places, to then reroute yourself and want to get out of it and get another job, or sometimes it might be not as easy as we think. So I think that it's important that we're very, very, very conscious. And then maybe we'll talk about that more later. A community of people that have the same values and align with you, so that then that becomes sort of a resting point, a backbone, a structure for you, to go through life in that environment.
Okay. So speaking about structures, right? Do you have a template, right, or a structure or a plan for how you keep tabs with people back here. Seeing the time difference, and all of that. Do you have a structure for it?
So yeah, it's not like a full blown structure, but what I try to do is, even when we're in different time zones, I make sure that I check on my friends. It doesn't have to be. We don't have to have the conversation at the same time. Usually, it's like I send a WhatsApp message, you reply immediately. Sometimes I know that before we find time to do that, so it might be one long message checking up what's going on, how is this, how is that, how is, multiple things at the same time. Oh, we talked about this one time, how is that going, and all of that, and then send that in. If the person wakes up in 4 hours, 6 hours, whenever the time, and then they reply that helps me to keep tabs on my friends. Sometimes I have friends too who stay up late, Nigerians who are in Nigeria and who stay up late, such that we can talk and have long conversations, and we do that a lot. So I have friends who have the luxury of doing that. I have friends who don't have the luxury of doing that, and I also, have friends who, like I said earlier, my relationship has waned a little, because of that strain, and it's understandable. I don't blame them, and I believe that they don't blame me. Because I try to sort of explain these things, that time is not the way it seems. Everybody getting here, like I said earlier, I had to pack up my life, quote unquote, here to move, there, and then getting there, settling down with my family and all of that. It took a number of months, all right, and these things take time. So on both sides, we must know that it will take time, and I think we should as believers, as friends, as humans, extend grace to the next person. It's not easy for somebody to make that decision. Yes, everybody's happy at the airport. We're happy. Finally, you are leaving. But yes, finally you are leaving. The person is going somewhere where he doesn't know he doesn't know what's next for him. And sometimes people have assurances. So you go, maybe a job is waiting for you, or you go, you're a permanent resident, and so you're like, okay, I can get a job, or you go as a student, or you have some funding and all of that. But yes, those things are theoretical assurances. The environment conditions its own set of assurances, its own set of expectations, like I said earlier. So those expectations will come with you adjusting to new realities, and we must extend grace to each other. You don't know what the next person is going through. You can only see them on their call and so that. And don't let nice pictures deceive you. I'm serious. Don't let anybody.
People will only put up what they want.
Until and it is except you are in that person's maybe innermost circle that you can actually find out what exactly is going on. So instead of saying, you even forgot us, you don't even check on us, should be, what's going on? How are you doing? How's that place? What are the new things? People here, people there might even need help from people here. The approach should not be, oh, now you have gone, you have escaped.
That's it.
So what can you give us? What can you give us? What can you give us? The first few months of that person getting there, trust me, even if they start working or they start school immediately, all of that, there are several changes. There is environmental changes. There are changes to There are changes to your work ethic, to your life as a believer. So all of those things will take time before everybody settles down. And in doing that, we must extend grace. The person on the other side should not say, I've gone, so I've left this place, so I left everybody behind and I don't know. There also, on the other hand, people that are here or wherever they are must also extend grace to anyone that's on the other side. So once we have that mindset, I'm extending grace to you, you're extending grace to me. We see, and then we can actually help each other wherever we need to.
Okay, so the next question, right? I don't know how to ask it because you're a man, and it seems like more of a thing that it seems like something that women would do, right? So, and it's about how people relocate and then their friendships become so bad that they make life-changing decisions and their closest friends back home don't even know about it, right? And sometimes it's understandable because they've gone there 2 years, 3 years, they've made new friends over there, and these people this time around they are seeing them every day, right? So how do we draw the line between, oh, I shouldn't get angry over this? How do we separate our emotions and and logic? Like this is just logic. This is what will just naturally happen.
So friendships are, whether we like it or not, matters of the heart, right? Friendships are really, if we actually are friends, then they're emotional things.
Yeah.
You're attached to this person. You see this person as someone who's close to you, especially at the level you're talking about. So that would mean that on both sides we must first consider ourselves that as friends. So which means that if we again, not everybody would know everything. Now if we're at the level of people in my inner circle, wherever I am, people in my inner circle would know what I'm doing, because those are the people who would even help me if I would watch my back, would like I said, the structure that I can lean on to say, okay, these are my closest friends, these are the people that if I have anything I can reach out to these people to say, okay guys. And this is not about money, because a lot of time when we say you can reach out to your friends, the assumption is that you're reaching out for money. This is not money. It could be just reaching out to your friends to just think about, discuss with them about an idea that you have, a decision you want to make. Sometimes context doesn't work for people who are here. They don't have the context of what's going on there. So yes, it's possible for you to have a set of people you reach out to there for certain things, and you could have believers as friends across regions, across continents, and all of that, whom you can always reach out to for spiritual strength. So that's that. But also now, like you said, somebody saying something on social media that they should have known earlier. I would say that we must always understand what and where we are in people's lives. It's important. Sometimes as people we overestimate ourselves and what we are to people. I mean, this might not be the usual answer. It might be that, oh, okay, just think, but why would somebody not tell you? I'm sorry. There are times that as human beings we overestimate ourselves, our positions in other people's lives. We must understand what we are to these people. The thing is, because the context would change, obviously, then somehow certain things will change about certain people. There are certain decisions that they might not run by you just because the context has changed, not because you don't matter to them. And sometimes we make our impact or positions in people's lives based on the amount of information about themselves that they give to us. No, the expectancy is that we must, because we're friends and all of that, you must tell me everything. No, I don't have to tell you everything. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know that. There's this concept of best friend and all of that, and but we're best friends. Yes, you don't have to say everything to this person. First of all, like I said, the context has changed. So now it's an extreme to say, one of the things we were talking about before, it's an extreme to say you find out about the wedding of your best friend on Instagram. That's an extreme. That's something that in my opinion could be talked about. What's going on here? Are you okay? Are you another? But then again, if going back to my first point of extending grace in the previous question, if we understand people's lives and we from time to time just check up randomly on people, you would have heard something, you would have seen something. So nobody just out of the blue just makes a decision to get married, So these things take time. There's a process context on both sides have changed. So this person is in a new space where he needs people who are experienced in that space, sort of be his advisors, a new structure there. All right. So the conversations might differ. The conversations would even differ. So we must understand that, and it's not a bad thing to happen. It's not. I think that, like I said, that's why I started with the fact that friendships are emotional things. So we expected their expectations. Oh, you should tell me this, you should tell me that, and all of that, and that's all well and good. All right, we should always know the extent, but we must also not overstretch ourselves to the point where we now find ourselves in we get disappointed. So this person has moved on a little. Your relationship has maybe stretched out not to be where it was before. It's fine. That person might be going through a time in his life that he honestly cannot do or cannot take up that friendship that is far away at that time. And I think that people should be able to know that. So if you text somebody a couple of times and the person is not answering, then send a text that says, hey, I hope you're good. I've been trying to reach you, just check on you and all of that. If you see this, anytime you see this, let's just, I'm just trying to say hi or something. These things are not. The problem is that instead of doing that, offense is the next thing.
Yeah.
Instead of actually being a human, to say what's going on with you. Oh, it's what can we do on this side to even help? Help can be prayer. Help can be, oh guy, things are not as I thought it was going to be here. Join me, in prayer that God will just open doors and things like that. Or on the point of making a major decision in my life, please just join me or something. Or what do you think about this thing? Instead of being solution oriented, we are
so much on the problem.
Yeah, we're focusing so much on this guy. He's not calling me again. That's how they do when they leave. And before you know it, you're trending on Twitter because somebody said this or somebody said that. So I think that, like I said earlier, we might sometimes overestimate ourselves. We need to know what we are to people, all right, and know that. That's one. Also, we also need to know that when people leave, when people relocate, there are different conditions, and their lives will take new turns. And we must understand that, and we must come to terms with that enough to know that there are times when, not because they are being bad people or trying to push you away or anything. I mean, there are people who do that. And that's not a good thing to do. That's something that should also be cautioned. Okay, that's not a good thing to do. It's not a good thing to leave and say abandon every other person that you've known. It's not a good thing to do. But there are also times when we should understand that people might be going through things that are different from what you can understand just because you live in this environment, right? As little as just any example, as little as paying rent. Right, we pay rent annually here. But in a lot of those places, rent is paid monthly. The pressure that puts on your income alone is something that, if a person is not prepared properly, it feels like you're just working for the system.
Rent.
And that in itself, could be so much pressure that this person is not even seeing all his phone or whatever. They have 2-3 jobs or whatever they're doing. They are thinking of something. People are doing things now, living for school and working by the side. School fees is not complete. Lots of things are happening. And then somebody is sitting here not knowing all of these things, and you're like, I texted you 2 times, you didn't answer. Because of that, our friendship is over. Right? So maybe back to our initial point, extend grace and understand that the context has changed. Not by necessity. The context has changed, and you might not understand what the person on the other side is going through. So even in terms of buying things, you gist about and laugh about, you want to buy something, you convert it to naira in the first few months of being there. That in itself, over time you will not do that anymore. But that in itself is to tell you that there is a rewiring going on in your contextual understanding of the environment that you're in. Right, so that rewiring will take time, and it must happen on both ends.
Okay, so as you were talking, I just felt like okay, maybe I need to bring another person to talk about this. maybe a female, maybe a female, and then somebody who is here, right?
Yeah,
because it's easy for, and I like how you started, how that this is an emotional thing, right? Because the person who is here will put the blame on the person who is over there, and the person who is over there will say, can't this person that is there understand what I'm going through? So I think that the bottom line is for us to be, like you said, give more grace and to be more empathetic, right? You might not be able to fully put yourself in that person's shoes because you don't understand, but a simple conversation, like you've always said, and some people will not open up.
That's another thing. That's another thing that I think we need to emphasize. It is the right of the person who doesn't want to open up not to
open up. But how do you then come into that place of understanding?
Okay, so this is it. Somebody here has an issue. Somebody there has an issue. There are times when, depending on what is going on, we might not want to talk about these things. You might feel like right now it's too choking to even talk about it. When anybody, either here or there, gets on the other side of it, then it might now be a good time to say, oh, more, you know what was going on that time.
Okay.
Do you understand? And if we're actually close enough and we're friends, then we can say, oh, more, you know what was going on that time. I couldn't even talk about it, this and this and this and all of that and all of that. And then we talk about it. So what type of friendship do you have? What level of sincerity do you have with each other? I mean, I know that I have friends that if for any reason I'm not able to keep tabs on them or reach out to them or all of that, with time, I know that even if they can't reach me, they would when we eventually speak or talk about these things, I know that exactly. I know that there wouldn't be bad blood, there wouldn't be offense and all of that. So it depends on how we have built these friendships. To be honest, the way I see friendships these days is that people have built friendships around a gain system, right? Or a point system. Or this person is, you know, you look at yourself, you're like, I need a medical doctor in my circle. You know? And it's not a bad idea because also you need to have friends across the board, you know, where you have things, some people are experts in their areas and you can, you know, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that's a bad idea, but I'm saying that some of those people do not know that that's what they are to you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Some of those people don't know. They feel like, because you can, for example, a doctor who is your friend, quote unquote, but you in your mind, that person is filling the gap of doctor friend,
just in case,
you know. And because you've shared maybe something personal with that person, health wise or something, I don't see this is going on and all of that, that person feels like, oh, if this person can share with me, then we're close. But to this person,
I just told you because
you are the one that can give me the advice necessary there. Do you understand? You know, some people will say you need to have a police friend in Nigeria, that type of thing. And that person feels like you've shared one family detail with him, he's your friend. So what type of friendships are we building in the first place, such that when we go through things, even when we're not there, even when we're not able to explain these things fully, we know that I know that this person, whenever we're able to speak, this person will not have bad blood. This person will not think that, oh, I just absconded, I just forgot him, quote unquote. You know, so I think that's how we need to begin to look at these things.
Wow. So, friend, what I can hear from what you're saying now is we need to be genuine friends, supportive friends, and people who are, you know, willing to make sacrifices. So even when you want the person to talk and the person is not talking, you are okay with it, and like at your own time, when you're
a believer, if you're a believer, right? Okay, so look at what we talked about earlier. You're a believer. Both of us are brothers under one father. So I'm talking to my brother. My brother is not talking. That is, I'm trying to talk to this guy. This guy is not talking. Please, whatever is wrong with him, please just help him sort it out. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. You are the best friend ever. Not because the person replied your message or said anything to you, but because you know that this person is going through something and he cannot articulate it right now. And this is not about even relocating or not. It could be the person here that you're trying to get to, and the person might not be responding because of something that is happening here. So that's why I said both contexts, we have to sort of know that until we find that balance on both sides, and we're actually genuine friends with each other. We actually believe that we're believers under one Father, under one God, serving the same purpose for that family of faith, for that body of Christ. So that would be the anchor for every other thing.
Wow. Okay. All right. There's some conviction going on right now, but we're just going to do that. And this has been a very, very awesome one. I personally have some questions answered in my heart, and I'm grateful. So thank you for coming on Leap of Faith. I'm very grateful. I'm going to say thank you to Pearl also. She's behind the camera, she's one that helped us with everything. So thank you, Pearl. We love you. And thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to send them to me. Send them to my email, then I'll forward it to him to answer those questions. Don't be shy, don't worry. Just we'll answer the questions. So thank you guys.
No, thank you to everybody. Love Jesus. That's the final thing. Just love Jesus.
All right, thank you guys. See you next video. Bye.